turned it off. Jennifer and I had tickets, we just didn't get them. Dee Dee, nice to meet you. Oh my gosh. Do you live in Yola? Just so you know, we're ready to start our Sunday service. Jay is on the recording over there. And if you look around, we've got a couple of cameras on us. We've got a camera over there next to Catherine. We got a camera in the back. So, yeah, we're ready to start service. Fully cameraed. How's that? So, good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Sally Watts. It's my pleasure to be here today. I want to begin our service this morning by recognizing the first people of this area, the Siuslaw Indians. We are grateful for their careful stewardship of the land, of the air, of the water, of the fishes, as the birds, and the little tiny peoples, you know? So we honor the tribe for what they have provided for us to be here today. We honor their families, both past, present, and future. Thank you very much. So we're going to start our service, like we do every Sunday, by singing hymn number 123. It's called Spirit of Life. The words are in the program if you don't need the hymnal, or turn to 123. Rise as you are able, and let's sing Spirit of Life. Tuvia will lead us with his wonderful guitar. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, arise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Yes, thank you, Tuvia. Thank you, everybody. So as a reminder, I ask that you turn off your cell phones or put them on mute. And please remember to remain fully masked while we're in here today. We're going to continue this practice until further notice, so we want to be respectful of everybody in that regard. So I have a thing to pass out. You may recall we've been collecting money for our friend in Poland, who is helping those who are escaping Ukraine. And we have a 2-page double-sided document that we've received detailing what's been going on, and with a hearty thank you to the Florence UU Fellowship. And I'll start on both sides of the room. If you want to take one and just pass it around and read this at your leisure, okay? Pass it around. Thank you. There's also in there a link. I think I typed it large enough so you can type it into your browser. And at that link, you will see some photographs that have been sent as well. Very, very charming, very heartwarming, and gut-wrenching as well. So last week, we sent out a survey via email to all of our members and friends. In the subject line, it starts with, would you do us a favor? If you did not get this email, and you think you should have, would you let Deborah Jordan know, and maybe she can help you either find it in your other folders? Yes, Deborah.
Actually, I was going to announce that.
Could you please use the microphone right there behind where Tuvia is? Thank you. You have to turn it on.
Okay, so today is the last day of the survey, and I wanted to thank everybody who has taken the time to fill out their surveys and send them in. We've gotten quite a few. There were a few people that for some reason their email went astray and they didn't receive the survey. So if you haven't received it by email and would like to take the survey, let me know at the end of the service today, and I'll make sure that you get one. And we'll be wrapping up the results in the next couple days. So thank you. Ashley?
Thank you. Ashley?
I was one that didn't get it. I have it now, thank you very much. But if there are enough people who didn't get it, maybe we can extend the deadline a minute.
Could we extend the deadline is the question. I'm speaking into the microphone so we get this on recording. Could we extend the deadline?
Yes, that's a good question, but unfortunately we can't because we're using a free 14-day trial of the Survey Sparrow program. So to extend it, we'd have to pay him some money.
So if you didn't get the survey and you think you should have, let Deborah know. We still have throughout the whole day. You can get it done and completed and back to her. That would be wonderful. Thank you, Deborah. Catherine Hemmons, are you wishing to receive affirmative, give out affirmative prayer? So after service today, if you'd like to meet with Catherine privately in the side room, she can offer spiritual affirmative prayer. Our annual meeting is scheduled for June 5th at 11:30 right here at FOOF. So after our Sunday service, we'll start at 11:30. Members are encouraged to attend this business of the fellowship for the coming year. Friends and guests are always welcome. We'll receive the proposed budget for 22-23 in the mail, and you'll vote on it as well. Karen is here to talk about the community partners and our ballots for elections, right? You can stand right here. Come on.
Okay.
I get the big mic. Woohoo! How exciting. I'm the head of the nominating committee for our yearly search for directors. This year we have one slot open. We have a nomination of Lynn Hughes to fill that slot. We are open to anybody else who would like to put their name into the running if you would like. You have to be a member.
See Karen.
We're doing a membership induction on this coming next Sunday. So if you want to join the board and you're not a member yet, let me know. We can take care of both in the month of May. The other thing is every year we do our community partners, and part of our annual business meeting is to select the 6 groups that we will be donating money to throughout the year. So if anybody, we have some consistent ones that we've had on the ballot for a few years. If anybody wants to nominate somebody new, please see me, because I'm going to type up the ballots for that. So I'm a popular person today, I hope. Thank you.
You're always welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Karen. So things are going to go out in the mail, right?
Yes.
In a couple of weeks.
Yeah, by the 15th.
By the 15th. So you'll get it in plenty of time to take a look at all the things that are in there, and I think you either return them by mail or bring them to the meeting. Got to have it by 11:30, right?
Sally, you might mention that there's a self-addressed stamped envelope, so nobody has to put postage.
Right. So you can, so you can put it back in the mail. We just have to get it by that morning. So anyway.
You can walk in that day.
So anyway, that's our general meeting coming up. We do the business, we'll do the year in review and all the good stuff, all right? Are there any other announcements from anyone that you would like to share? If so, we have a microphone I can pass to you, or you can come forward. If not, okay, thank you. So who was here this morning to help meet and greet? Was that Xana?
It was Xana.
That was Xana. Thank you, and she's still back there. We love that. And then also, is there anyone here, and I think there is, for the first time, because we have a gift for you, and I would love for you to stand and introduce yourself, and I'm going to get the handheld microphone. And what we have is a book called Windows to the Light, Enriching Your Spirit with Haiku Meditations, written by a woman who used to live here in Florence, and Michelle.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle. I think I can turn around. I'm manager of the spiritual bookstore down in Old Town. And I'm here today to support Day, who's going to be speaking. We did bring some of our books along with us. They're back there. So it's good to be here. I know I've seen many of you in the store. And we appreciate your support. From the very beginning, you guys have been really supportive of us when we started out in the community, so thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee, and Ruth and Maggie were kind enough to let me know that this was going on here, and so I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
Glad to have you here. Anybody else? Oh, yes, Karen. Karen.
Yes, hi, my name's Karen. Just moved up from Southern California to Mapleton. Lifelong UU, member of the Santa Monica Church for 30 years, and excited to be here.
Please accept this as a gift, okay? Also has a little flyer about who we are, UUs. Anybody else here for the first time? No, I think we pretty much got that covered. Thank you, everybody. Yes? Ruth, did you steal her book? It's all Ruth's problem. Well, thank you, everybody. So I'm only going to take 30 seconds, but I want you to turn to the person next to you, behind you, in front of you, and just say good morning from your heart to theirs. Very nice, everybody. You follow instructions very nicely. 30 seconds are up. Thank you, thank you. I'm inviting Jean Hunter to come forward to light the flame in our chalice as I share these words from Gordon McKeeman. Thank you.
Hey, good job.
Good job. She passes the test. We summon ourselves from the demands and delights of the daily round, from the dirty dishes and unwaxed floors, from unmowed grass and untrimmed bushes, from all incompletenesses and not yet startednesses, from the unholy and the unresolved. We summon ourselves to attend to our vision of peace and justice, of cleanliness and health, of delight and devotion, of the lovely and the holy, of who we are and what we can do. We summon the power of tradition and the exhilaration of newness, the wisdom of the ages and the knowing of the very young. We summon beauty, eloquence, poetry, and music to be the bearers of our dreams. We open our eyes, our ears, our minds, our hearts to the amplest dimensions of life. We rejoice in manifold promises and possibilities. Blessed be. So I invite Catherine to come up. We have some joys and concerns, so those of you who don't know this part, you'll want to pay attention.
Good morning, everyone. This is the part of our service for joys and concerns. And Xana and I have been reading a book, some mind-body healing today book that by Lisa Rankin, Dr. Lisa Rankin. And there was something in there today that reminded me of joys and concerns. Every day is an opportunity to deepen your connection to the people you value. When you let your heart feel, when you let yourself become resilient to shame, when you end your judgments of others, learn the art of forgiveness, practice being authentic, lay bare your soul, you allow your mind to work its wonders in optimizing your body for its natural state of self-repair. I love that body-mind connection. We do that in joys and concerns, whether publicly or within our hearts. Let's remind ourselves that we are a loving community. If there's anyone that wishes to share anything, please line up around this side.
I have the microphone. Come on down.
Can you
take a
hear me,
shortcut,
by the
Mark.
way? There was something about here. Okay, all right, good.
You can come this way. Does anybody else like to share? I mean, you can follow Mark's lead and come on up.
I like to take shortcuts whenever possible. So, this past Friday, we had a very successful Earth Day. Quite a few foofers were there. I think we had between 40 or 50 people that came out
Fantastic.
in front of City Hall. We even had a couple people running for public office who used the bullhorn. So I want to thank everybody that helped make that possible and that showed up. And I'm not sure what events are coming, but you will hear about it.
I don't know exactly what I'm going to say, but first of all, I'm very, very grateful to be here. I was a little afraid because I'm so filled with emotion these days. My husband passed 3 years ago, but I made a very harmful decision to myself and started a relationship to try to avoid what I'm doing now. And so I'm doing my grieving lately and very hard. And I feel like I don't do well with loneliness, and I feel like I'm fighting for my soul. Period. That's it. And if it were not for my children, I'm not sure, to be really honest, if I would continue to stay here. So I just ask for support. And one day I look forward to being able to be support to each and every one of you if you need it as well.
You have our support, Jude. Ann, do you want to come forward?
Yeah, we drop a shell for ourselves in the cleansing water, just a little ritual. Mhm.
Did you drop one? Do I get to drop my
You
own?
get to drop your own.
I reach out to the current speaker, and I will reach out to her afterwards. Because this fellowship had me through last fall of black grief and deep sadness over David's passing. And I'm happy to tell you that I have now pulled myself together and moved from Driftwood Shores, which I loved living there with him, but it was just full of Dave. I couldn't walk down the hall without wanting him to come hug me. I moved into Shorewood Senior Living, and it is a community. I've been there almost 2 months, and I had so much support from so many people here in my move and in helping me get a new lease on life. So everybody, those that actually help me and those that support this fellowship, this is a wonderful group, and I am deeply, deeply grateful to each and every one of you. One more shell. This is for George and Deborah. They have helped me over the last month in rescuing an elderly couple in their 60s. He's almost blind. She has cancer and diabetes. And I found out they were camping in a leaky tent just off Highway 101 and Highway 35. And they helped a great deal. And we now have them in a motel, at least for a little while. We're trying to get social services to help them. Just one couple of all the homeless things. But George and Deborah, thank you for rising to the occasion and doing so much that physically and every other way I wasn't able to do. So thank you. And thank you to this fellowship for all that you do in so many ways. I am so grateful that 8 years ago, I found you.
Make up your mind, Ann. We do. We've got sharing and caring in all different ways. So, Jay.
All right, this is a thank you. I was able to get a slide, an opening slide. I know it may not sound like a big deal, but an opening slide for our live streaming. And I wanted to give credit to Jeff Lovejoy because I stole one of his songs that he had recorded for us. That's Water Over Stones, and that was the opening song for the slide today. Now, you all don't get to hear that, but everybody else out there does. So listen to the recording. You'll see it.
Thank you. And thank you for all your help on that, too, Jay.
One more thing, I still have a card back there for Phyllis Kuntz. And if anyone else wants to sign it this week that didn't get a chance next week, it's in the back at the table, and then we will send it off to her.
Can I share one?
Absolutely.
So coming up, well, last week I was working on behalf of the City of Florence, the Environmental Management Advisory Committee. We hosted a table at the City Light Cinema for the movie Kiss the Ground. We let a lot of people come through, but we also have some leftover programs from that movie They're in my car. I'll bring them back in here when I leave or before I leave. So please take one. It's a really good program talking about Kiss the Ground. And then also next Saturday, April 30th, is a celebration down on Bay Street. So this is an announcement, but it's a joy of mine. And from 10 until 2, we've got some tables down on the gazebo park talking about environmental issues. We're talking noxious weeds. We're talking about flow grow, all of the good things. And then we're going to head up at 2 o'clock to the Chamber of Commerce, where we will do the official dedication of the Hiroshima tree, Peace Tree. Really a special, special day. I invite you to join us next Saturday, the 30th. That was my joy.
Thank you, Sally. And a final shell. For anyone we don't know about, for any reason, you are included completely in our circle of love and compassion. Blessed be.
Paula and I have a special responsive reading. It's number 492 in your hymnal, but we're going to ask you not to go there. We want you to relax where you are. Maybe close your eyes and enjoy this reading back and forth between the two of us. And it's called Fragile and Rooted. I'll begin, and then Paula will pick up the next grouping. So sit back and relax. I'm going to sit here while she stands there. What number is it?
492.
Are you ready, Paula?
I'm ready.
Is everybody ready? See a blossom in your mind's eye. Allow it to fill the interior of your imagination.
Greater perfection of form in nature cannot be imagined. With inward gaze absorb each wondrous fluted petal.
Slide down its humid surface until you drop as the dew into its velvety core.
Immerse your senses in this safe chamber.
Such fragile beauty gives impulse to weep.
Slowly reverse the journey. As you ascend the shaft toward wider light, turn your imagination around and around to see its many facets. Stored within it is the memory of all flowers.
Marvel that this creation, while utterly fragile, yet undaunted, boldly buds forth, turning resolutely toward the sun.
We too shimmer with expectation, exuding our own illumination, color, pulse, and scent.
Vulnerable, still we venture our lives courageously toward hope and light, at once fragile and rooted. By Carolyn Owen Toll. Thank you, Paula. Tuvia has selected a wonderful opening hymn that's not in your program, but we decided to add it. It's number 146 in your hymnal. I don't know the title because I don't have it in front of me, but we're going to let Tuvia play this, sing it with us. We'll do both verses, and rise as you are able, number 146.
This song is so connected with so much of the chaos going on in today's world. As we get the microphone set up. You okay, Sally? And so we're going to do the verses and the chorus. Here. Soon the day will arrive when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Some have dreamed, some have died to make a bright tomorrow, and our vision remains in our hearts. Now the torch must be passed with new hope, not in sorrow, and a promise to make a new start. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me.
That's beautiful, Tuvia. Thank you for that. So, Ruth, would you like to introduce our guest at the pulpit today? And we are ready.
Good morning, everybody. It's been a while since I've been up here. We're delighted to welcome John Day Owen back to FUF today. As a high priest of the Essene Church, Day last spoke to us in March of 2014 about ancient Essene meditation practices and goddess teachings. Day is well-known environmentalist and expert on the Dead Sea Scrolls and Gnostic writings. He also owns an organic farm and recently opened a metaphysical bookstore in Old Town in Florence, which many of you may have seen. And he teaches yoga and meditation one evening per week at the bookstore located at 1411 Bay Street. He's the author of 8 books, including Teachings of Mary Magdalene on Tantra and Solar Illuminations, the Essene Sun Yoga of Jesus and Magdalene. The title of Day's talk today is Spiritual Awakening, From I Am to We Are. The talk will explore different levels of spiritual awakening. Please help me welcome Day. Thank you.
Greetings. It's good to be back here. I was a speaker in 2014. A lot has happened since then. I am now a resident of Florence, which I wasn't in 2014. And yes, we have opened up a bookstore in Old Town right across from Moe's Restaurant. Come in and see us. So, when I was 17 years old, I decided to skip school for the day. I was a surfer back then, not a real good surfer. I was more the kind of surfer that stood on the beach with the surfboard and a beer and talked to the surfer girls while all those other guys were out there really surfing, you see. But on this particular day, I decided to skip school and go surfing. I pulled my car onto the freeway ramp, and sitting on the side of the ramp was an old man with a long white beard. He was sitting in the lotus posture, the meditation posture. I'd begun to study some yoga, and so I recognized that. And against all prudent parental warnings, I decided to pick up my first hitchhiker. As he got in, he says, "I was waiting for you." I took him to a vegetarian restaurant. That's where he was going. I ended up having lunch with him and not going surfing that day. I'd skipped school and ended up into a whole other form of schooling, the spiritual studies. So after the restaurant, I gave him a ride back to this beautiful land base he had in the mountains up east of San Diego. It was the most beautiful manifestation of Garden of Eden on earth as I'd ever seen. Vegetable patches in the shapes of spiritual symbols and sacred geometries and such. He invited me to experience a sweat lodge ritual with him. I did so, and after the sweat lodge ritual, he asked me a question. He said, "Who are you?" David Owen. Who are you? An American. All these veils that we wear. Who are you? A high school student. Who are you? A body with a brain. Who are you? The brain itself. Who are you? And then I experienced that I really wasn't even just the brain, because I was the one that would go into the brain like we go into a computer and look in the files. And I experienced myself as a spark of spiritual I am. So I answered, "I am." He said, "Welcome home." He also said, "Class is dismissed." See, I thought I had ditched school. A couple of weeks later, I returned, and I experienced another sweat lodge ritual, this time when we got out of the lodge itself and had rinsed off and such. He told me, "Okay, we're going for a ride. Get in your car." So we got in the car. We began driving down from this beautiful Shangri-La paradise down into San Diego. And then he tells me where to go. He says, "Go to Horton Plaza." Now, Horton Plaza in downtown San Diego in the 1970s was sort of a decadent hell pit, full of people doing things like talking to themselves as they walk across the street, not noticing the bus coming. So I had always resisted going there, but pulled up at a parking spot. There were some bikers by this dingy bar, and as I got out, I decided, okay, I'm going to be as rough and tough looking as these bikers. I get out and I stumbled on the curb, fell. They had their biggest laugh of the day. We began walking. My yoga teacher, as he had become, said, "I'm going to visit relatives." Now, I thought it was kind of odd that we'd be visiting relatives in the Skid Row section. He pointed to an obvious prostitute, very emaciated prostitute, one that you would imagine would be the prostitute frequenting that particular district of town. And he says, "Who's she?" I said, "Well, probably a prostitute." We continued walking. We came across what at the time I would have described as the poorest excuse for a human being that I'd ever seen. A derelict wino laying in the sidewalk, trousers torn on the rear end, feces, vomit. My teacher said, "Who's he?" Well, a wino bum. My teacher looked at me and tapped me on the forehead and said, "Who's he?" I realized that although Brother Wino had been not living life in harmony with all the life principles that we would hold up as being very worthy, and had obviously suffered tough times, that he was, as I was, a spark of spiritual I am. My teacher, just before we'd gotten into the car, we were walking by one of those beautiful vegetable gardens, and he had pointed to a lizard and said, "Who's he?" And having just come out of the sweat lodge and acknowledged I am, I looked at the lizard, and though he had a funny body type, I realized that's a spark of spiritual I am. I said, well, like you and like me, he's a spark of spiritual I am. My teacher then pointed to a red ladybug on a leaf. Who is she? She's a spark of spiritual I am. And then we'd gotten into Horton Plaza, and I didn't recognize these human beings as sparks of spiritual I am. I realized I'd become uncentered. So I asked my teacher, how do I stay centered? And his answer was yoga. Now here we're not simply talking about the physical postures called hatha yoga. We're talking about meditation. We're talking about karma yoga. We're talking about the entire spiritual gamut, because the word yoga simply means union. It means union with the all. It's a goal, samadhi, union with the all. But it's a path also. And the path is all the things that you do to come into that spiritual awakening, the I am. So spiritual teachers tend to give practices that help us to come into progressively higher spiritual awareness. Those teachings are quite common. How many of you have seen a lot of commonality in the teachings of Buddha, Lao Tzu, Jesus? As ye sow, so shall ye reap, you see. So I began a long study of yoga that still continues. If any of you are interested, we are starting up our yoga classes again. Some of you attended last summer. We will be starting up in early June. I don't know the exact date, but here at the end of the service, if you're interested in getting a flyer when we restart our yoga classes, just leave me a phone number or an address and we'll connect up. I leave you with what came to me after my first several months of studies with my Essene teacher, and that is a way to come into higher spiritual awareness by beginning with the realization, I be. Let's say that together 3 times. I be. I be. I be. That's I am. That's being. You can't really not be because, brothers and sisters, you are being. It would be the antithesis of being to not be. So you can't really cease to exist. You be. But the second great realization is I be changing. I realized early on that I could have the mountaintop peak spiritual experience. I am. And then I could become very unconscious and do unwise things the next day. When I realized that at the age of 17, I realized, well, I be, but my condition of being changes. I then conducted a test. I got a notebook, and I decided for 30 days I would watch my level of awareness, and I would make notes each day, and I'd see if I could find a rhyme, a reason for the fluctuation in my state of consciousness. And I did. And it turns out it's the same one that lots of those brothers and sisters have found through the years. And it's that I be changing, and I not be changing just by chance, but according to my thoughts, words, and deeds, how I am harmonizing with universal principles, universal laws. And so I began then what I now call the great decision. I made the decision to dedicate my entire life to that, to watching my thoughts, words, and deeds, and giving my best go at harmonizing those thoughts, words, and deeds with the laws of the universe. And brothers and sisters, if you do that, what happens is you begin to just simply spiral into what could be called enlightenment. It's like if there's a dimmer switch on the wall and you turn it and the room gets progressively lighter. Well, as it gets progressively lighter, and we'll call that room the universe, as it gets progressively lighter, you notice more subtle laws, more subtle spiritual principles that you can then begin to harmonize with. And it's an ongoing process, enlightenment. And as you engage with that, you become aware of more than you used to be aware, and you simply continue to harmonize with that. And then you experience what the yogis call samadhi, which samadhi is really Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, and bliss. So I conclude by saying that, how many of you are into bliss? Yeah. So each of us in our own ways, and I say this to myself right now, let's dedicate our lives from this point forward to, with gusto, giving ourselves to simply harmonizing with what we know to be true, our highest insights, because the process is as you live up to the light you have, what you know to be true, greater light in the form of new insights, new realizations will come to you. And then if you dedicate yourself to incorporating the new insights, the new realizations into your daily walk, greater insights, greater realizations will come to you. It's the exact same thing that all our spiritual friends through all these centuries have talked about. And it's true. And the reason I invite us from this point forward to dedicate ourselves to that is because that's the path of bliss consciousness. Brothers and sisters, I'm so happy to have met you, and I do feel like I'm meeting you, even though we haven't been chatting. I feel your energy. I love you. The reason I didn't come in earlier and wear a mask, besides the fact that I just feel done doing it, I feel so done doing it, but besides that, I actually have some asthma, and wearing the mask just makes it difficult for me to breathe. So I didn't want you to think that that was some kind of intentional political act. It was more a practical thing that it's better for my breathing not to wear it. But I end by saying that I've always had great love and admiration for the Unitarian Universalist religion, because you're not afraid to look for love and truth wherever you find it. That's been an important ingredient in my life, and I see that in this church, and I acknowledge that. Love and peace. I've brought some of my books wherever your book table is. Yeah, about 8 different titles that I've written. And anybody that is interested in starting up our yoga class that's going to begin in early June, just come up to myself, or where's Bert? Bert, in the back there. If anybody wants to be alerted to our first yoga class in June, just give your phone number or address to me or Bert. And with that, I end with the words that I was taught when I was 17 years old and have been reciting ever since. I'm going to say, love in all ways. Always in love. Blessed love. Thanks.
Thank you, Day. That was totally fabulous. Totally fabulous. And I know you'll be around, maybe you'll be outside, and we can gather around outside in the clear blue air and crisp air, and we can all talk and love on one another. Will you do that? Will you stay around for a little bit?
Yes, as a matter of fact, now that I've done my main verbal thing, I'll go ahead and stick on a mask so that I can also be inside.
If it doesn't bother you, we would welcome you to come back in,
I think I
especially for our peace song.
That sounds so wonderful.
Okay.
I'll grab it.
Thank you, Day. So today's offering begins with the words from Kayla Parker. We know that our financial contributions to this congregation come from sacrifice and often hard work. We are so grateful for this and commit together to ensure the funds we gather collectively do a greater good for ourselves and our world than we could do on our own. May there be an offering to sustain and grow the life and mission of this congregation as shared on the front of our program. May we give in love and in hope and maybe with a little bliss. Our community basket is divided into 2 parts. Part 1 is for our fellowship, because we are self-sustaining financially. And the other half is, for the other side, is for food share. So that's our community partner. That concludes for our months of, what was before April? March? March and April is food share. Next month we go to a different community partner. Anyway, we invite you to give to food share as well. And generosity is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and institutional well-being. You are now invited to participate in the blessing of giving. Please remember that all our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us. If you're watching this virtually and you'd like to make a contribution or a payment towards your pledge, you can easily send us a check and mail it to P.O. Box 2502, Florence 97439, or you can go onto our website and click the donate button. And both ways are easy and easier than you can imagine. So I'm asking, Deborah, will you help on this side? And Catherine, will you help on this side? To help pass our basket back and forth and accept the gifts of our congregation. If you are unable to contribute today, Please accept the basket that is presented to you and pass it with love to the next person. As we go forward, Tuvia has a lovely instrumental he's going to play, and before that, I ask that you repeat after me. Divine love through me,
Divine love through me,
blesses and multiplies all that I am,
blesses and multiplies all that I am,
all that I give,
all that I give,
all that I receive.
all that I receive.
I am prosperous now.
I am prosperous now.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Thank you. Tuvia, thank you. We're so grateful to you, Tuvia. Thank you. We thank you for your spiritual practice of giving and loving. Your contributions and love are received in grateful appreciation. Jean, would you like to come forward and extinguish the flame? Since you did such a good job lighting it. You can use the, there you go. You've seen that before. These words come from Reverend Scott Taylor. May it stay with you, this awakening, this beauty grasp of who you truly are, never alone, always worthy, graced with a unique gift that the world surely needs. And if you lose it, if it slips through your busy fingers or is drowned out by the noise of the world, remember you can always retrieve it here, in this tender temple of equal, forgetful friends who are always ready to sing you back to yourself. Blessed be. We're going to conclude our service today with our peace song. We're going to invite Day to come back inside. We gather around the chairs, a big circle around all the chairs. Hold hands, lock arms if you want. You don't have to. And if you need to remain seated, that's just fine. We will encircle you and sing the peace song. The words are on the back. And remember, Day will be outside and share some good conversations. Tuvia is going to lead us in our peace song.